Thanks for hitting that like button for me. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. I got Kels. How you doing? How you doing? Oh, I'm getting some. I'm definitely gonna get some. I just want to put this message out really quick. She cooked. Jay Renee, hey, how you doing? I am. I hope you're doing well. Is everybody asleep tonight? Did I come on too late? Yeah, she is strong. She need to sit her butt down somewhere. Tell her to sit down. Sit down. Jeez. Louise, Louise. I'm gonna see if a few more people come on. I'm sure it's more than 3 people up tonight. I don't know. What time is it? Oh, it's almost 12 o'clock. I don't know. We tell her, but she says she'll ride if she can't move around and cook and dance. Lord have mercy. Okay, we got a few coming in. Oh, it is 11 11:54. Vonda, hey, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Vet, hey, how you doing? How you doing? Oh wow. I wish it was the early. That would mean I could get a bit more sleep. So here's the thing, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and get started, and they can pick up on the video in the morning. Butterflyness, hey, hey, hey. I wanted to make sure you got this information so that you guys could go and do some research on it because it popped up on my phone today. So I wanted to make sure that everybody had this information so that it would not be overlooked. There was I'm going to call him young, even though he was born in 69. All right, guy, I got Kels. I'm not going to be on here long. I just want to drop this in here so that people will be informed, and then I'm rolling out myself. So we had this black man, fairly young black man, last year on May 10th, 2019, was involved in some type of altercation with the police. According to the police report, they said that there was some type of police chase. Whenever they did the incident report of the situation, they said that the man, whose name is Ronald Greene, they said that Ronald died from a car accident from the police chase. The cause of death was related to some kind of trauma that he sustained in that car accident. And that's pretty much how it has been since that time. Well, I don't know what sparked an investigation. I'm not sure quite what happened. But someone, I'm guessing someone at the police department, got a copy of some audio from the body cam footage. Now, I don't know if this was during an official investigation or if somebody was being nosy. I don't know how the situation came about that they got the audio. But once they heard the audio, they found out that what they were told was just a regular, we had a police chase. The guy ran into, they made it seem like it was a tree, it was a shrub, like a bush. Very little damage was done to his vehicle. But they made no claims of any type of physical altercations, any type of physical altercation, even if it's just pepper spray being dispensed, if you have to use your taser, anything that you have to do, even just having to talk to someone to de-escalate a situation, those things have to be documented in that report. And everything should have a time along with it. So they made mention of the alleged chase, and that the guy got in an accident, and that was pretty much it. The guy died from injuries sustained in the accident. So just recently, they have the audio because someone demanded that the audio be put out. Now, you guys, I put the guy's picture on my thumbnail, but just in case you didn't see the thumbnail, this is Ronald Greene. That's Ronald. Ronald Greene. So remember that name. So I'm going to let you guys hear the audio. Hey, K baby, how you doing? I'm going to let you guys hear the audio. And this is how the police department and the investigators really found out what happened, because without having this audio, because the guy didn't realize that his body cam was still running. So he was just running his mouth, basically. So because he was still running his mouth, the people found out what was going on. So they launched an investigation. Now, other officers were involved. He was the only officer that was really dealt with concerning this situation. But I'm going to let you guys hear the audio. Let me make sure I have my volume turned up. Now, this is a state trooper. This isn't just a regular law enforcement officer like a street cop. He's a state trooper. And they're held to a higher standard as well. So let's just go. Let me see if I can find it. Here. Hold on, y'all. Listen, my speaker in the other room. Let me turn my Bluetooth off. Okay. All right. Y'all listen closely. I don't know if you can make out what he's saying, so I'm going to play it again so you can see the words too, just in case. But I want you to look at the pictures that are included so you can see the lacerations that are on his face and on top of his head. I don't know if you can make out what he's saying, so I'm going to play it again play it again. So I don't know if y'all can make out what he was saying. I heard him a little bit. The SOB was still breathing. Right. So I'm gonna tell you what he was saying. He said guy was on patrol. Guy was on patrol that I think he was with. Hold on, let me go back. I'm gonna play it again. And I beat the ever-living F out of him. Choked him and everything to get him under control. We finally got him cuffed when a third man got there. And the SOB still kept fighting. Oh, well. I want y'all to see his head. These are lacerations in the... God, I gotta sit up, I guess. I'm in here chilling. These are lacerations. And can I get it? Okay. These are lacerations in the top of his head. From him being beat in the head. This is his face. So I'm gonna go back. And it's really muffled, so it's hard to really get you guys a good sound, but I'm gonna play it one more time. The man was bleeding everywhere. He's spitting blood everywhere. And then all of a sudden he went limp. So he killed him. Now, had they not, I don't know who decided to go back and review this, the tail end of this body cam footage, but this guy, his name is Chris Hollingsworth, a state trooper. And I'm going to tell you the guy's name that he killed, his name was Ronald Greene. Now, I'm going to tell you how ironic this story is. Let's see if I can hold up, y'all. Come on now. Okay. The article from today, I guess you can say yesterday now. The article reads, in a matter-of-fact chatter picked up On his body camera mic, a Louisiana state trooper implicated in the death of a black man can be heard talking of beating and choking him before all of a sudden he just went limp. I beat the ever living F out of him, the trooper said in a 27-second audio clip obtained by Associated Press. It is the most direct evidence to emerge yet in the death last year of Ronald Greene, who troopers initially blamed on injuries from a car crash at the end of a chase. The long simmering case has now become the subject of a federal civil rights investigation and growing calls for authorities to release the full body cam video so that everybody can see what happened from start to finish. Master Trooper Chris Hollingsworth. Now this is where it gets crazy. The trooper Chris Hollingsworth, that's the man that killed Ronald Greene. The trooper Chris Hollingsworth died in a single car accident last week. He died in a single car accident last week. Interesting, huh? Now I'm going to go out on the limb and I'm going to say that the accident wasn't an accident. But let me keep reading. I'm telling you, just it wasn't an accident. It was an accident, but it wasn't an unintentional accident. Hey, Tiff Tiff. Hey, Scorpio. So he died in a single car crash last week. Last week. This was confirmed by two law enforcement officials familiar with the case who spoke on the condition of anonymity. State police did not dispute the tape's authenticity. They go back, choked him and everything else, trying to get him under control. Hollingsworth is heard saying, apparently in his part of a phone conversation with a colleague, we finally got him in handcuffs when a third man got there, and the son of a B was still fighting him. Was still wrestling with him, trying to hold him down, he said. He was spitting blood everywhere, and all of a sudden, he just went limp. He didn't all of a sudden just go limp. That's not how this works. It is shocking that this evidence has been withheld for over a year. This is where attorney Lee Merritt has stepped in. He is now an attorney for the Greene family. He called on the state officials to release the full footage immediately. So they also got the president of the NAACP involved. And so they're questioning why nothing has been said or done, or why the other officers that were involved haven't been questioned in connection to Ronald Greene's death. So the question is, number one, how far did the cover-up go? Because this man was murdered last year, over a year, in May of 2019. They're calling on the governor to take swift and aggressive action. That would have been something that should have been done last year. I'm just saying. So the governor, John Bel Edwards, told reporters last week that footage of Greene's arrest would be made public at the conclusion of the state and federal investigations. Considering the fact that the real investigations have just taken place, then it may be a while before that footage is released. Or because of the current riots and things of that nature, they might move a bit more swiftly to keep those things down once the word starts spreading about this situation. Now, Hollingsworth, he was a white guy. I think I left that out. He was one of 6 state troopers. He was only one of 6. He was the only one that was placed on administrative leave following administrative investigation. And that investigation on him, listen to what I'm saying now. This thing happened in May of 2019. This man got put on administrative leave after an investigation was done in August of 2020. So it was over a year before they even thought about investigating this thing. So let's talk about this car crash. Hollingsworth died in a single car crash last week. Listen to me now. Hours after he learned he was being fired for his role in the Greene case. Even after the trooper's death, the state police have refused to comment on Hollingsworth's use of force or say which policies he was accused of violating. The agency declined to comment due to ongoing investigations. Let me just stop right there real quick. So when I say that his death wasn't an accident, I don't think anyone caused the accident other than him. He know that he murdered that man. So once he found out that he was going to be fired, he went on a suicide mission. He did not want to accept those charges. That's what it is. He did not want to have to deal with whatever disciplinary actions were going to follow from him murdering this man. And the penalties for him would have been greater in this situation because he was law enforcement and because he openly admitted on tape that he beat the living F-U-C-K out of this man. Put all types of lacerations in his head. No, Latasha, I didn't see that. I have to go and check it out. Or put me a link in here. No, I don't think it'll let you put links. If you'll give me the name, I'll go and check it out. But he did this on his own. A few hours just last week. Now, he was just put on administrative leave. The investigation just started in August. So up until this point, he still had a job. He was still out ripping and running. He pretty much thought he had a free pass on everything that was going on. So up until August, when he was put on leave and then was put under administrative investigation, that's when things got real. So, and that was late August going into September. So in this short period of time, they realized that you were wrong. Now, they're not going to put out there that, okay, you contributed to this man's death, but they know he did something. That's why they went ahead and got rid of his behind that quick. They didn't go through any unions. They didn't go through any other procedure. He was getting up out of there. So he found out. Next thing you know, he's in a single car accident and he's dead. I find it ironic that he dies from this single car accident when this is what he alleged this black man, Mr. Greene. He alleged that this is the way that Mr. Greene passed due to a car accident. And then this is the way that he decided to, and I'm going to jump out there and say take his own life. That's not what anything in this article says. But based on what I'm seeing and what I've seen in other articles, I think that that accident was very much intentional so that he would not have to deal with the consequences of his actions. Initially, Greene's family was told, Greene was 49 years old, that the 49-year-old died from injuries suffered in a crash into a shrub/tree at the end of a long car chase near Monroe that began over an unspecified traffic violation. So they still don't even know what the traffic violation was that they had the alleged car chase over. State police crash report obtained by AP omits any reference to troopers using force or even arresting Greene. They did not say that they had any contact with this guy other than showing up, having a little chase, him getting in an accident, and him dying as a result of that accident. Any form of physical force has to be reported. If you arrest that man, if you put handcuffs on him, that has to be in that incident report. If you attempt to put handcuffs on him, that has to be in the incident report. And they tased him several times. That also was not in the incident report. It was not in the report. The crash report obtained by AP omits any reference to troopers using force or even arresting Greene. But they noted that he was not wearing his seatbelt during the crash. So him not wearing his seatbelt caused the numerous lacerations in his scalp and also caused his face to be just beat to a pulp during that incident. So the state police later acknowledged that there was a struggle with troopers who were trying to arrest him. This was not in the initial report, so that means that it did not happen if it was not in the initial report. And if you said that it didn't, then that is a lie by omission. Therefore, you are covering something up. You falsified that report. Last month, they disputed the car crash narrative by releasing graphic photos of Greene's body that appeared to show deep bruises on his face and cuts on his scalp, as well as photos of the SUV he was driving showing it only had minor damage, which it did on the side. And if I'm not mistaken, it was on the driver's side, maybe on the rear. That wouldn't have even caused him to have a hurt shoulder. I'm just saying. Now, this is going to be a thing, of course, that they use to put him out there like they always do. Greene, a barber who lived for years in Central Florida, was not known to be wanted on any charges at the time of the police chase. He did have a criminal record in Florida that included arrests ranging from theft to drug possession. Court records showed he served more than a year in prison following a 2000 conviction for burglary and grand theft. So trust and believe that these are going to be the reasons that they use for doing, well, he can't say anything because he's gone now, but these will be the reasons that are being used for them coming after him. Best believe these will be the reasons. They always go and dig up that history to try to have some type of excuse for those behaviors. So, let's see. I'm being lazy, y'all. I did not feel like going to my office.
The Associated Press obtained a graphic 27-second audio clip of a Louisiana state trooper implicated in the 2019 death of a black man, Ronald Greene. It's the most direct evidence to emerge yet after troopers initially blamed Greene's death on injuries from a car crash at the end of a chase. Greene's family has maintained the crash was not serious enough to kill him.
Y'all see that
troopers
at the back?
Covering up the real cause of Greene's death. State police later acknowledged there was a struggle with troopers who were trying to arrest him. Master Trooper Chris Hollingsworth, a white man, died himself last week in a single car crash hours after he learned he had been fired for his role in the Greene case. In the audio clip, Hollingsworth is heard recounting the May 2019 arrest. He's heard talking about beating and choking Greene while on the phone with a colleague. He said, quote, "I beat the ever-living F out of him and choked him, trying to get him under control." The trooper continued saying, quote, "We finally got him in handcuffs when a third man got there, and the son of a B was still fighting. He was spitting blood everywhere, and all of a sudden, he just went limp." Louisiana State Police did not dispute the recording's authenticity. The long-simmering case has now become the subject of a federal civil rights investigation, and Greene's family has filed a wrongful death lawsuit as well. The family attorney said it is shocking that this evidence has been withheld for over a year. He called on state officials to immediately release the full footage. For Newsy, I'm Johanna Grunaway.
So, I haven't been watching TV like that today, so I don't know if this is something that has been over the news. Haven't seen it. Um but I did come across a few articles today. And one of the articles that I came across was actually from September the 22nd. So, like I said, they started looking at this stuff in what? August, late August. So, oh wow. Oh wow. So one of the articles says that Louisiana law enforcement continues to be known for having some of the most corrupt law enforcement in the country. In May 2019, according to the Louisiana State Police, officers attempted to pull over Ronald Greene for a traffic violation. Ronald refused to pull over and led police on a chase, resulting in him crashing into a tree and dying from injuries related to the crash. This is what was in the initial report. Here's what we know, and because they have decided to investigate themselves what we don't know. The state police will not say what the traffic violation was supposed to have, that Ronald Greene was supposed to have committed. That's still up in the air. Whatever the traffic offense was, that should have been the first thing that was listed in the report for the reason that they were even chasing him in the beginning. What is the citation that you were chasing him for? What made you go chasing after this man? They will not release the body cam footage. There's no mention of use of force in the reports, though they have now admitted that there was a struggle after the crash, and they claim that Mr. Greene was resisting arrest. And we now know, thanks to federal investigations pushed by the family, that they also tased Mr. Greene at least 3 times. So remember, I told you they tased him too. The guy didn't mention that in the audio. They tased Mr. Greene at least 3 times, and that the vehicle didn't actually hit the tree. Did y'all hear that? Thanks to the federal investigation that was pushed by the family, they found out that Mr. Greene was tased 3 times and that the vehicle didn't actually hit the tree. So the entire incident report was a bald-faced lie. They made it all up. The family of Ronald Greene has been struggling to get answers as to what happened. Their push, which included filing a federal wrongful death lawsuit, finally resulted in at least a few answers, though the investigation is still ongoing. The family was able to find out about the struggle and the tasing. They found out that there was a witness. Remember, the cop said that the man had somebody with him? They found out that he did have a witness, that Mr. Greene kept apologizing for running. Once they got him, he kept apologizing for running and begged them to stop assaulting him. I'm going to read that again. They found out that there was a witness, that Mr. Greene kept apologizing for running and begged them to stop assaulting him, and they were able to get some pictures that seriously undermined the police version of the events. Now, I'm going to show you one of these pictures. On the picture, it shows deep bruising on his face, along with cuts in his head. I showed y'all the cuts that were in his head and his scalp. They said notice that the injuries are on the right side of his head and face. Now, I told you guys that he got into this accident, whatever accident, they said he hit the tree. It was on the driver's side of the car, the back of the car, which would have been resulting in injuries to the left side of his face. All his injuries were on the right side of his face, his head and his face. So notice that the injuries are on the right side of his head and face. If Mr. Greene was in the driver's seat and crashed, to receive head injuries, he would have either gone forward into the windshield, causing the injuries to be on the front of his face, or he would have gone to the side into the driver's side window, causing injuries to be on the left side of his face. The injuries picture don't make sense if they are supposed to have come from a car crash. So I'm going to show you guys. When he said that he beat the ever living F out of him, that's exactly what he did. So looking at this, it would appear that he beat him with a billy club. That's what it looks like. And this is the car. So like I was saying, you good up here. You got your injuries, your damage here. No cracks in the windshield. No cracks in the window. Because if his head would have hit either one of those that hard to cause these types of bruises, something's going to be cracked. And again, this is here. But mind you, they found out that he never actually hit a tree. So what happened? The article goes on to say, now look at the picture of the car. There is no front end damage. The windshield and driver's side window are intact with no cracks or other damage being evident. And the airbag did not deploy because he was not in a car accident. The side mirror is somewhat damaged, but the main damage to the vehicle is to the driver's side rear quarter panel. Just an observation. No one has claimed that this was done, but that would be the place a vehicle would get damaged after being on the receiving end of a pit maneuver, meaning that they rammed the darn car. Okay. I would be interested to know if any of the police vehicles received damage to this incident, and if so, what their claim is as to how they got that damage. But regardless of how that damage came to be there, it does not indicate a life-threatening collision. It doesn't even indicate a collision that would have sent someone to the hospital. Maybe the doctor's office for a headache. Oh, interesting. They just added to the article. So, the Louisiana State Police, under mounting pressure, began their own investigation. In a weak show of action, they placed one of the officers involved on leave. This was the officer that was recorded on the video. According to the PressDemocrat.com, Master Trooper Chris Hollingsworth had been placed on paid leave September the 9th. Okay, September the 9th, amid the growing fallout. Now, a lot of people see that, and a lot of agencies put that out there because it makes people feel better. Oh, well, they've been put on leave. Administrative leave means that he is still getting paid his same pay. He's just sitting home getting paid that same pay. So he's basically getting a vacation. So let's be clear on that. So there's an update to this article, and under it, it has death or suicide. So I am not the only person that's thinking that this man went and rammed his car into a tree because he was too cowardly to deal with the consequences of his own actions. So this reads, according to an article by KSAT, a Louisiana state trooper has died following a single vehicle highway crash that happened just hours after he learned that he would be fired for his role last year in the in custody death of a black man. Master Trooper Chris Hollingsworth was pronounced dead Tuesday following a brief hospitalization. Warren Lee, chief investigator for the coroner's office, told the Associated Press. So, the article is saying, was the death of Hollingsworth karma, or did he think about the consequences of being found guilty for his actions and ending up in Louisiana's penitentiary system, which is probably the worst and most violent one in our country? Definitely somewhat a corrupt cop would not want to end up. Somewhere a corrupt cop would not want to end up. We will probably never know. What we do know is that there are still 5 other Louisiana troopers who were involved in the murder of Ronald Greene who have not yet faced any consequences whatsoever. What we do know is that whenever that officer signed off on that incident report, that he was not the only officer that had to sign that report, and that every officer that came on the scene had to do a corresponding memo or a corresponding report to go along, or a supplementary report to go along with the report that Mr. Hollingsworth turned in. If they showed up on the scene, then they had to submit those papers. So if it took the feds coming in and forcing them to do an investigation, then that would mean that everybody lied on their paperwork. That would mean, and there was no, I didn't see anything in here about them doing any type of life-saving measures or anything. So you just let them die. Now, my first question is, because I'm going to have to go and do some investigation on this, because like I said, I just saw it today. But I'm going back to look for the actually, let me see if it's up here. I'm going to look for the autopsy report. Because we know that he's going to have some blunt force trauma to his head. Absolutely. He had at least 3 huge lacerations to his head. And his forehead is swollen enough. And I'm going to turn this back around again. His forehead is swollen enough here for you to know that they beat him in his forehead. And if you look at how deep and how wide that laceration is, and he had at least 3, it looks like this could possibly be broken. I'm very interested in seeing, and let me see, because it looks like they may have some more. So let me see something really quick. So this is just a close-up of the same one. These look like the same ones. That's the car from the driver's side again. As you can see, the damage is to the back. You see that rear right there. That's where they rammed his car. That's exactly where they rammed that car to get him to stop. I thought they were going to have some more photos in here. The way that they, let me try to see something. That's just a bigger one that they put up there. I'll put the video back up just so y'all can see, because it had a few more. You can see that some of the lacerations a little bit better. Y'all see that? There's one up here too. So there's a lot going on. There is a lot going on. Um, the family's lawsuit said that Greene was taken to a nearby hospital and quotes an emergency room doctor who says law enforcement told him that Greene had been involved in a fight after the chase. So now you have another lie that law enforcement told to a doctor, the emergency room, the ER doctor at the hospital. So when they took him to the emergency room, they didn't say that he got into a car accident like they reported in their own police report. They didn't say that there was a physical altercation between them like they later came back and reported. They said that he had got into a fight. He was involved in a fight. In a fight with who? So Greene's death was ruled accidental and attributed to cardiac arrest. This is what the coroner said. Who was not in office when that determination was made. Smith said her office's file on Greene attributed his death to a car crash and makes no mention of a struggle with state police. Local prosecutors decided not to bring any charges against the responding officers or troopers, but referred the case to DOJ. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Shreveport confirmed the ongoing federal investigation, but hasn't commented on its status. So the internal investigation into Greene's death by the state police's OIG office, that started on August the 25th, which was 474 days after Mr. Greene's death. So let me check something else. I really want to see his autopsy, because I'm pretty sure they're going to say he had something in his system. Let's see. Okay. According to the family attorney, based on what they've seen, it says that it appears that Mr. Greene was sat upon, that several officers sat on him and tased him repeatedly and beat him before he entered cardiac arrest. Now you're beating him, you're hitting him in his head. They didn't say anything about any bruises about his body. But if you tase him at least 3 times, then y'all know that y'all are the cause of this man's death. Let's see if they got this up here. Let's see if we got this report. So I'm going to have to do a little bit more investigating on this because some of the stuff that should be on here, it is not. Mention a struggle. We're not able to comment further. The airbag did not deploy. Mr. Greene got out of the car uninjured. He could walk, speak, and otherwise function in a healthy manner. And you know that he had to be healthy if they claimed he was fighting them and it took 3 to 6 people to try to restrain him. So the thing with the accident, and unless these guys turn their body cams off, then all of them have footage of exactly what happened to him. So this says as more troopers arrived on the scene, Mr. Greene apologized for leading the chase. 2 troopers pinned him down and individually and in concert used lethal force against Greene, including shocking him 3 times with a taser as he begged them to stop. Officers called an ambulance. When it arrived, emergency medical technicians found Mr. Greene unresponsive with multiple taser barbs in his body, according to the lawsuit. I'm going to pray that one of those taser barbs was not in his chest. Again, the same thing that happened with George Floyd. The people were called once he was non-responsive. You do what you got to do to him and whatever. And once he's no longer breathing, once you're no longer getting any type of sign of life, then you go and call. But let me move on. His death was ruled accidental and was attributed to cardiac arrest, same as George Floyd. The family commissioned an independent autopsy that found, that's what I want to see. I want to see that autopsy. The family commissioned an independent autopsy that found severe injuries to Mr. Greene's head and skull, and several wounds to his face. After examining damage to Greene's car, which was mostly on the rear driver's side, an accident reconstruction expert found it was inconsistent with a fatal collision. Of course, it was inconsistent with a fatal collision. Let me try one more place and see if I can find this thing. Let's see. that one was already on there. And do know that this will probably be one of those cases that was like Breonna Taylor's case. They're gonna they're gonna end up paying his family. So the family posted some pictures on Facebook. This is a better photo of his head. Um, so you see those lacerations, and if you look carefully, he has what looks like a protruding laceration right here, like it actually has something coming out. And then he also looks like he has something over on this side. Um, and of course, we can't see the back to know what's going on. And then they have a bigger picture of the one that's showing his face. And his family posted um, these pictures to make everybody aware of what was going on. So, but I still do not. Where's my charger? I'm trying my best to find this autopsy. To find this autopsy report. Give me a minute. I gotta put my charge in. Um. So this is why I say, we have a lot of people bickering and all that kind of stuff, and I'm like, we have some other stuff going on, and for me, I that's why I can't just get caught up in the justice of or the injustice of one person, because there are so many injustices going on right now that I feel like it's unfair to the other people that have things going on to not acknowledge that we have stuff going on all over this country right now. Is my battery dead? And there are some major things that really need to be addressed, and that's real. Hey, Groovy family, how you doing? Now they should already, unless they're holding them because of the case, his autopsy findings should already be posted. Let's see. I think the thing that's interesting in here is that they aren't making any mention of the fact that there was supposed to be someone else that was with him, that there was a witness. Um, okay, so they don't have the full thing on here, but they do have some results on here. So these are some of the discrepancies that they found. Greene's family was initially told by the police that Greene had died after hitting a tree. We know that that wasn't true. A call for EMS concealed the face. So when EMS came on the scene, they concealed his face so the EMS could not see that lethal force had been used. Are you freaking kidding me? The police report failed to indicate the use of force. Um, and if EMS didn't check his face, that's on them too. That's a whole other story. Anyway, officers claim that Greene was intoxicated. I knew it was coming. That he was intoxicated before learning that a toxicology exam found no alcohol or drugs in Greene's system. Greene's body was transported out of state for an autopsy, thereby denying the family's right to have a representative observe the autopsy. An emergency room physician at Glenwood Hospital in West Monroe said upon obtaining more history from different law enforcement, personnel history seems to be disjointed and does not add up. Different versions are present. Family states that they were told by law enforcement that patient died on impact with tree immediately after the motor vehicle incident. But law enforcement stated to me that they can't write this. That patient fell out of the car. That patient fell out of the car and running. That doesn't even make sense. That patient fell out of the car and running and involved in a fight and struggle where he was tased 3 times. He wasn't beat up, he was just tased. Subsequent to his death, the family has released post-mortem photos of Greene, which shows his injuries to be consistent with the cause of his death inconsistent with the cause of his death as described by police. Because of the graphic nature of these photos, it is the decision of that newspaper. They decided not to post those pictures. But as we can see, if this thing ends up having to go to court, because they still have 6 other officers that can be held accountable for this. And I'm pretty sure that at this point, since this other officer is now deceased, that those other 6 officers will blame whatever happened on this now. Y'all give me 1 second. Yeah. They're going to blame whatever happened on this now deceased officer. So they might as well go ahead and look for that. They're not going to claim any parts of it. But in the line of duty with them responding to those calls, then every single one of those body cameras should be checked. Every one of them should have been checked. So we'll see if that was even done. But the fact that this was something that had been covered up and had the family not reached out, I know people talk about Lee Merritt and people talk about Ben Crump all the time, saying that they're always getting involved in stuff. Well, listen. If you don't have any other attorneys that are willing to go and put their face out there and actually go and fight these people and call stuff for what it is, then I just don't feel like hearing anybody having anything to say about them, because if that's who people trust to go to make sure that some noise is made, then you let them make that noise. You let them make that noise because apparently they know what to say and what to do to get the nation's attention. They know what to say and what to do to get the information out there so that people are aware of what's going on. So I don't have any problems with them being involved in these cases whenever they come up. And hopefully if some other attorneys are willing to step up to the plate, then we won't have as many of these cases coming up because people know that they're going to be held accountable. That's it. I think in this particular case, this Hollingsworth man, um, I think he met his fate sooner than he expected. He chose his own path because he know he killed that man. He know he killed him. So I just wanted to put that information out so that you guys will have it and can go and do some research on it. I'm gonna do a bit more research on it because I find it funny. If you're gonna go and you're chasing somebody, if you're um, we'll just stick with the chase. There has to be some justification behind it. So if you're saying that you're chasing him for failure to stop for a traffic violation, then what was the traffic violation from the beginning? Did he run a stop sign? Did he fail to yield? Did he darn not use his turn signal? What did he do for you guys to feel like you had to chase him in the first place? He didn't have any warrants. He didn't have any warrants. He didn't have anything else going on as far as they knew. He had some stuff that happened to him in the past, and maybe they were familiar with that because you can get information across the lines and see what people have going on. But we won't know exactly what they know because the main one that did the damage is no longer here, and the person that they did it to is no longer here. So, but I'm going to keep my eye on this. Hopefully you guys keep your eyes on it. Because I do feel like once the word gets out on this one, and from what I've seen just from the little research that I was able to do tonight, that there had been small protests locally with the people that knew what was going on. Pretty much since like September, since the guy died in September. So they had small demonstrations. Let me say demonstrations. So I think that once people realize that these other officers aren't being held accountable, and they realize that it was more than one officer that was holding him down and more than one officer that was beating him and stuff like that, I think it's going to be a completely different story. So they're going to have to get on that and get on that fast. They are going to have to get on that and get on it fast because they let that man walk around too long, and now you're letting these other officers walk around. And understand that even if they didn't touch him, if they lied in a police report, if they did not report that man for what he did to Mr. Greene, then they are just as guilty as he is, and whatever punishment that he would have been getting, and they are subject to the same punishment as if they had touched him. So there's no excuse. There's no excuse. Um, right. Right. As long as it's listed as a accident, then he'll get insurance. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I don't know if he should have still had a regular policy, but I don't know exactly how that's going to go for him because he was actually fired. He was fired before he went and did whatever he did with his car. He was fired. So, I don't know how that. Oh, excuse me. I don't know how that was rude, y'all. I'm sorry. I don't know how that would work for him because he was fired. He was fired earlier that day. Um, And if I'm not mistaken, I think maybe he got in an accident on the 21st and died on the 22nd. So as long as that paperwork shows that he was fired on the 21st and his time of death says that he, you know what I'm saying? They're saying it was a few hours later, but they didn't say how far apart. But I did see one thing that said that he was fired on the 21st. So I don't know if it's something that happened late at night where he went and did it. I don't know. Um, but they gave him a full service from the pictures that I saw as if he was still a trooper. So, Chris, I always check out Papoose over there. We check her out. We check her out. But was found out on Facebook 2 weeks after his funeral. Yeah. So this is an ongoing story, and like I said, I'm gonna check into it. I want to know exactly what's going on. I feel like these cases like this have to be followed. Um, they have to be followed closely, just like the officers that were involved in the stuff with George Floyd. Things have been going on, but people have kind of, they're not as fired up as they were when the stuff first happened. So they're not really watching when the guys go to court and all that kind of stuff. And you have to pay attention, because if not, that's how things just kind of get swept under the rug. So stay woke, most definitely. But it's after 1 o'clock, so I'm gonna go and get my butt off here. Fortunately, I am working from home tomorrow, today, whatever you want to call it. So I don't have to get up as early, but I gotta get up out of here. So I just wanted you guys to get that information. Um, Please make sure you like the video, share the video, um, just to raise awareness to what's going on, because people really need to know that this isn't a new incident that happened, but the cover up is still new. It's still relevant right now because the cover up is still current. So we definitely need to make sure that we get the word out on this. Good night, K baby. Um, Again, like the video if you haven't subscribed to the channel. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you are interested in becoming a certified dime, please do so that we can get to that magic mark and start doing certified dime things. So with that being said, I bid you guys farewell. I ask you to be careful out here in these streets. Y'all, these people are not playing. Know your rights, but don't get out there trying to be so egotistical that you get yourself hurt trying to show somebody just how much you know. The object of the game is to get home safe. Get home safe, get home to your family. That's your ultimate goal. Get home safe. So I will see you guys next time, probably tomorrow. Once again, appreciate you. Thanks. Shout out to the moderators. You had me cracking up earlier. You walked in the chat and said, I don't know what to say, so I'm going to just say, yeah, okay, baby. I wasn't expecting all that, child. I wasn't expecting all that. I wasn't expecting all that. So I just say, hey, they tell us in church, if you can't say a word, you just wave your hand. So I just wave my hand. Good night, sweet lady. Good night, Tip Tip. Good night, Groovy family. Look, I got y'all good nights yesterday. I saw them this morning. All your goodbyes and stuff from yesterday, so I get to see them today. Good night, Latasha. Yeah. Good night, y'all. So we'll come together and fellowship, hopefully, on tomorrow. If the good Lord willing and the creek don't rise.